Hello everyone, welcome back to Higher Max. As you can see from this title of this video, today we will be doing a get ready with me of this look and discussing what is currently going on with the Real Housewives of Potomac. Because there's much to discuss and I haven't had a chance to tell you my point of view about what is going on between Monique and Candace, and of course the ripple effects that fight has caused. But before we continue on, do not forget to like, comment and subscribe. Do not forget to follow the socials, my personal one right here, and of course my second page. And let's get into this video. So as you can see, the ladies are still in Portugal and in Madeira, and they start off the episode going to Poncha place, I believe. I hope I'm not pronouncing it incorrectly. And if you're asking why I'm putting primer on my neck, it's because my neck and my face are not the same color, so I put foundation on both parts. Anyways. And the ladies are still throwing some shade at Karen, for the fact that she isn't drinking. And they mostly peg it down to the fact that the last time she got drunk, she spilled some things she shouldn't have about her and Ray's marriage. Now, obviously, we can still feel the tension between all of the ladies, especially with, I feel like, Wendy and Karen still have a little bit of stuff they need to work through. And yeah, like that was pretty much what happened throughout the episode. And of course, we knew that the climax of the episode was to take place during Dominatrix theme party that Ashley and Giselle were in charge of. Now, before we get to the Dominatrix party, there is a lot of conversation about this thing, what would you call it? Character statement that Ashley wrote on behalf of Monique, obviously protecting Monique and low-key going to have to disparage Candace. Like, there's no other way to go about it. Like, Candace has to be disparaged in order for character witness for your other friend to make sense. Now, Ashley, let's be honest, sis. You are obviously still upset about what happened between you and Candace. And you low-key did say that this was your way of getting back at Candace for the mess that she spoke about you and Michael. And you know what? It's okay to admit it. Like, that's the truth. You aren't a fan of her anymore, which is fine, but let's be honest about what the reason is. And then even this thing of her saying, no, she's only doing it because Monique and her husband at some point supposedly protected Ashley. All of that went down at their house when Michael was being accused of touching a cameraman's behind during a tape session, which was obviously inappropriate, and Mr. Darby and Mrs. Darby have continuously denied this. Now, do I think that is the reason why Ashley's doing it? No. I know that she's just doing it to be petty and to get back at Candace. And she's now with Baby Dean, she's very protective about her family, as most people are. And I think this is her way to gotcha at Candace. As we continue on, I don't know why Ashley thought in any lifetime it is a good idea to tell Giselle and Robyn. All they do is start a mess. That's all they do. And obviously throughout the episode, they're like kind of saying like, no, you have to. At some point, you have to have a point where you plan on telling Candace, which I agree. I don't think that trip could truly end without her telling Candace. She was like, yeah, no, of course I'm gonna tell her. What I found strange is the way she was like, oh, if Candace takes this as a character assassination, and that's the way she takes it. Ashley, what other way is there to take this? And this is not me taking sides, because I obviously haven't made a previous Real Housewives of Potomac review, so I haven't been able to say what I feel about the fight. So I'm gonna say it now. This fight obviously has become the talk of the season and has been a raison d'être, which I believe is reason to be. So let's talk about it. I think, both the ladies, both Candace and Monique, were doing a lot that day. We're doing a lot and things got out of hand. A lot of the other ladies were not really helpful in this situation. I do believe that. I don't think it was to the point that Monique needed to put her hand. I really don't think it was to that point. I say this because I feel like they've had more heated arguments in the past. To be honest, I also think that a lot of the frustration came from those rumors that were swirling about Monique and her personal trainer. But who is the person that brought those rumors onto the show? Nobody else than Giselle. And like, this is my biggest pet peeve about this whole season. Is truly the biggest villain of the season is Giselle. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. Giselle is the biggest villain of the season because she is the one who has brought a lot of things unnecessarily to the spotlight. She, I think, is really responsible for a lot of the misunderstandings that are happening between the two. Now let me blend quickly. I somehow can't concentrate and blend at the same time, and then I'm gonna get back into it. Okay, now back to it. So, as I was saying, I really do think Giselle is responsible for a lot of the mess that's happening this season. I am not going to apologize for feeling that way. I just hate that the ladies have gotten to this point, and I'm also scared that this will mean we will have to only get one of them coming back next season. Worse things have happened on The Real Housewives in terms of people within physical altercations, such as Teresa, Joe Giudice's family feuds type of thing that happened a few years back on Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'm hoping that both the ladies will be able to get along past this, but apart from the fact this drama is dragging, and it's dragging with good reason, I feel as if a lot of this has been caused by Giselle. And I mean, you guys can tell me if you think I'm saying it wrong. I think a lot of this has been caused by Giselle, and it makes me upset that because of this physical altercation, there is more of an issue between two people that don't necessarily need to have a problem, especially since they were friends for the longest. And the problem with this whole argument is now bringing other arguments between other parties, which is how Karen is in between. And Karen is really low-key one of my faves on the show. I'm not gonna lie. I really like her perspective. I like what she adds to the show. Having her two closest friends arguing just does not sit right by me. Does not sit right by me at all, y'all. Yeah, throughout the episode, Ashley's telling them that. I knew from the beginning that this was not gonna go well. Because how could it? How could it go well? Like, what were you expecting, ma'am? It had to, there's just, you couldn't have thought that Candace was going to take this news well. You couldn't have. If you did, you don't know Candace. You truly don't know Candace if you did think that. As the episode continues, we also see that scene between Karen, the Grand Dame, and the other ladies when we start going onto Robyn's website. Robyn, that was so unnecessarily shady. So unnecessarily shady. I believe that she should have at the very least, pulled Karen to the side and said, "Hey Karen, love you girl, but I felt like the photos that you took, I think that these photos don't represent you correctly." Something like that. The way that she went about it, as usual, because she's friends with Giselle, super shady boots. Unnecessary. I hate that Karen had to find out like that. Just, it's like you wanted to embarrass her in front of the table. She's a busy woman. She took time out of her day to do this photo shoot for you. And then how you're going to repay her is by at least having the courtesy say, "Hey girl, unfortunately I can't use those images." That's the least you could do. That's the very least that you could do. She could have charged you for her time. Anyways, some people were saying that this was obviously an ageism thing. I hadn't thought about it that way. Then again, I'm also a young adult, so I haven't, experienced that kind of discrimination. If that's what she feels, I can't deny that. I can't take that away from her. Also, I think what Karen was doing was focusing on modeling the item more. That's why, she was like showing the hat and putting her head down. I think this was one of those things where she was just trying to make sure that you could see the product properly. Bear in mind, I'm totally freestyling this look. I have never done this eyeshadow look, and I don't know why I thought this would be a good idea to try in camera for the first time, but we're gonna move. Giselle and Jamal. Can someone explain them to me? I don't know why, I just don't think that they're real. I don't know why. I don't trust Jamal. Obviously, Giselle's dad doesn't trust Jamal either. Giselle's kids also don't trust Jamal. Giselle asked for a lot from her friends that she does not want to give in return. If any of them were being as coy or holding back man as much as Giselle was doing, the way she would crap on them. She would literally go on a whole tirade talking about how she doesn't think that they're in a real relationship. I prefer, what's his name? Furman? I don't know what happened between her and him to Jamal. There's just something about Jamal that just does not sit right. Does not sit right with my soul. Anyways, enough about Jamal and Giselle. They will make sense for themselves. Let's get into the thick of what this episode was truly about. Which is at the dominatrix party, you know, everything is chill, everyone is coy, having a good time. And then, who was it that was like, oh, you have something to tell Candace or something along the lines? I don't remember who it was. I just know that somebody actually was like, yeah, I do have something to say. I am writing a character witness on behalf of Monique, and because I am worried and I do not want her to go to jail. I mean, as soon as those words came out of her mouth, I knew that this was just not going to go right. And as we previously discussed, it's obviously it has to be a character assassination written in order for it to favor Monique. The stuff that she actually decided to include are obviously going to be points of contention between Candace and her. The thing that makes this awkward is that Candace literally has just been apologizing for all of this. So now it just looks a bit like, what was the point of all of that? As I said, I haven't taken a side, but I think that, you know, Monique should never have resulted into physical violence, but I don't really know. I just don't think Ashley should expect Candace to take this, to walk gently into the night. So yeah, I just think it was kind of unrealistic for her to have expected that. And then that's like the moment that Candace wants to drop the bomb that Monique and her husband were always talking crap about Ashley. Obviously, it wasn't enough to change Ashley's mind, because Ashley is still very convinced that Monique and her husband were there for her during the time that she needed them to be. I don't know if this was kind of, you know, there's a difference between doing something for someone because you believe in them, and then there's also when you do something for someone because you're keeping score. And it really does feel like Ashley and Monique are kind of keeping score, like scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of vibe. It doesn't feel like I'm genuinely doing this for you. So like I said, I put foundation on my neck so that it matches. That's just like one of my pet peeves, is having foundation that does not match your neck. Miss Karen Huga, love her, but Lord with your timing. And how this is going to show up either in the next few episodes or at the reunion is going to be interesting. Miss Karen is busy talking about how in Candace's statement, apparently Candace said that she threw the glass. I don't know why in the footage, to me, I don't ever see Candace throwing a glass. It might just be my eyes because there's so much commotion going on in that episode. Genuinely, I don't see it happening. Interesting to me that Candace admitted to that, because that is one of the things that Monique brought up at that, what would you say, that thing that Karen hosted a few episodes ago, Clear the Air with all the ladies. One of the things that Monique said is that Candace threw the glass in her face and then she responded to that automatically. This makes a twist, and this creates a problem. And now I don't know what this does as far as Karen's position in this whole thing, because I know she's been saying she's keeping neutral, she doesn't want to take sides, and as I saw in the preview, how she's starting her hairline, how she wasn't inviting Monique to the hair launch. Then in the preview we see Monique does come, which is a whole other thing, and she denies it, which is like, girl, please don't deny what's on camera. Like, I love you, but just don't deny what's on camera. We already saw it. So it just, it's become very messy because of all these other extra line points. I do believe that the first criminal case was thrown out of court, if I'm correct. And so there's another one. I'm hoping, to be honest, I don't want any of them to suffer any types of consequences with the law. I want them to sort it out. I want them to talk it out, do anything that's necessary, but I don't want the law to be the one that makes a decision what happens to these two beautiful, amazingly talented Black women. I really do not. Do I think Monique needs to properly apologize? Yes. I also think that this thing is so much deeper than a fight of which I don't even know how the hell it began that day. Nobody can tell me how that fight began that day. I watched that episode, I watched all the episodes. No one can tell me how those fights started. It's not about Charisse coming to Candace's thing. Like, this is deeper than that. And obviously, Monique is also going through something. I don't know, like, there's just some tension between her and her husband. Obviously, when you go through something as big as this, it's bound to happen. It's bound to take some sort of toll on your marriage. I know I'm looking a bit crazy, but it's all just trust the process. Everything's gonna make sense. I don't know. I'm just really sad about this whole event, but it's also made for very interesting TV. But at the same time, for me, I'm never happy to see two successful women go down this road. Now, y'all, let me know what your thoughts are and how you feel like this should have been handled. How do you feel? I'd like to know what people feel about Karen and her part about her being a neutral party. Do you think she's been neutral? Do you think she's low-key been choosing sides? And what are your thoughts on Candace pressing charges anyways? What are your thoughts on Giselle and Robyn and their involvement? Because for some reason, I don't know what about this situation has them all jazzed up. Is it because they potentially can now create an ally out of Candace because nobody else is really interested? Giselle and Robyn are thick as thieves, and it's always them two against the world. And if you're not part of that, you know, you're left behind, and it's like some sort of union. So I want to know what y'all think about that whole dynamic that is now starting to come to play, especially since Candace is questioning her relationship with Karen. About this thing, it's just been a bit shady on both ends. And I'm going to quickly finish getting ready off camera. I'm going to tell you some of my closing thoughts then, but stay tuned for the final look. Okay, so this is the completed look. It's pretty simple. I just added some lashes. I obviously had to put my setting spray on and some lips. I really am excited to see what's going to happen in this next episode with the launch with Karen's wigs. I think we're going to see a tipping point for her and Candace. I don't know if their relationship can really survive this. It'll be very interesting to see the women interacting with Monique in the same space because it's been a minute since we've had that. So y'all, I'm gonna wait on it and I'm going to do a video on it. I'm hoping that you enjoyed this get ready with me. I was excited to do it. Excited for our next Real Housewives of Potomac discussion. I want to remind y'all to not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow the socials as you can see down here, and my second page, Confessions of a Black Girl. I wanted to thank you again so much for watching this video. I'll be seeing you very, very soon. Goodbye.